There is a city in the middle of a desert that looks too perfect to be real. From above, it appears almost unreal, as if someone carefully arranged every street, every building, every monument according to a precise geometric plan. Wide highways stretch endlessly, fountains erupt in synchronized patterns, golden statues shine under the sun, and massive white marble buildings dominate the skyline. This city is Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan, often described as the most beautiful, the cleanest, and the whitest city on earth. But beauty, when taken to such extremes, can become disturbing. Ashgabat is not just white. It is overwhelmingly white. Government buildings, apartment complexes, monuments, sidewalks, even street barriers are covered in polished marble. The brightness reflects the desert sun so intensely that the city almost glows. It feels less like a place built for humans and more like a carefully staged exhibition, designed to impress anyone who looks at it from the outside. Walking through downtown Ashgabat feels like stepping into a dream that quickly turns into a nightmare. The city is silent. Not peacefully quiet, but unnaturally empty. 8-lane roads stretch into the distance with almost no traffic. Massive stadiums stand unused. Fountains spray water into the air, yet no families gather nearby, no children play, no street vendors shout, no crowds exist. At midday, when cities are normally alive, Ashgabat feels abandoned. This absence of people is the first crack in the illusion. The second crack is fear. People who do appear avoid eye contact. Some cover their faces. Conversations stop abruptly when strangers approach. Cameras attract attention, and not the kind a tourist would want. Here, speaking freely is not just risky for you. It can endanger your parents, your siblings, your children. Silence is not a choice. It is survival. Despite its emptiness, Ashgabat proudly holds multiple Guinness World Records. The largest Ferris wheel. The largest fountain complex. The largest architectural star shape. The most white marble buildings in one city. The government presents these achievements as proof of national success and prosperity. But records do not tell the whole story. They never do. Because behind this flawless exterior lies a question that refuses to disappear. Who is this city really for? Ashgabat does not function like a normal capital. It does not grow organically. It does not respond to the needs of its population. Instead, it behaves like a display case, a showroom, a stage. Everything is clean, ordered, symmetrical, and controlled. Even the cars allowed in certain areas must be white. Dirt, chaos, and spontaneity are treated as enemies. The city feels less like a home and more like a performance. To understand why, you must understand Turkmenistan itself. Turkmenistan is one of the most closed countries in the world. Independent since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, it never truly experienced democracy. Instead, it transitioned from Soviet authoritarianism into something even more isolated. Borders became barriers. Media became propaganda. Information became a privilege granted by the state. From the outside, Turkmenistan is rich. It holds some of the world's largest natural gas reserves. On paper, this wealth should have created prosperity. But inside the country, ordinary citizens struggle. Basic goods are rationed. Inflation is hidden. Unemployment is disguised. While fountains run endlessly in Ashgabat, many homes lack reliable access to water, electricity, or food. This contradiction is not accidental. It is deliberate. Ashgabat exists to send a message, not to its citizens, but to the world. It says, "Look at us. We are modern. We are successful. We are stable." It is architecture as propaganda, marble as misdirection. The city is designed to be photographed, admired, and misunderstood. But illusions are fragile. And history has seen this tactic before. In 1944, during World War II, Nazi Germany faced growing international pressure. Reports of mass murder and concentration camps were reaching neutral countries. The truth was leaking out. To counter this, the Nazis executed one of the most cynical deception operations in history. They chose a place called their Scienstadt. Their Scienstadt was presented as a model city for Jews. Streets were cleaned. Cafes were staged. Children played in parks. Musicians performed. Smiling families walked past flower beds. When the Red Cross arrived, they saw what looked like a peaceful, humane settlement. Their report concluded that conditions were acceptable. But their Scienstadt was not a city. It was a set. The people were actors under threat of death. Every word was rehearsed. Every movement choreographed. The Nazis even filmed a propaganda movie titled The Führer Gives the Jews a City. Once the camera stopped, the illusion was no longer needed. Most of the people involved were deported to Auschwitz and murdered. Their Scienstadt existed for one purpose only, to deceive the world. Ashgabat is not a death camp. The comparison is not literal, but the logic is hauntingly similar. Build a flawless surface. Control the narrative. Hide the suffering behind beauty. If the world believes the image, the truth becomes irrelevant. And like their Scienstadt, Ashgabat is watched constantly. Surveillance in Turkmenistan is not subtle. It is systemic. Phones are monitored. Internet access is restricted. Foreign news is blocked. Social media barely exists. Informants are everywhere. Teachers report students. Neighbors report neighbors. Even family members are careful about what they say inside their own homes. Fear becomes internalized. Over time, people stop questioning. Not because they believe the official story, but because questioning feels dangerous. Silence becomes habit. Habit becomes culture. This is how control truly works. Not through constant violence, but through predictability and psychological pressure. Ashgabat's perfection reinforces this system. Order is everywhere. Nothing is random. Nothing feels free. The city teaches obedience without words. It shows citizens what correct looks like. Clean, white, quiet, empty, beautiful. But beauty without freedom is not beauty. It is camouflage. And this is only the surface. Because to truly understand Ashgabat, we must understand the man who shaped it, the system he built, and the psychological experiment imposed on an entire nation. A system where reality itself was rewritten, history was edited, and a city became the centerpiece of a carefully engineered illusion. That story begins with one man and absolute power. To understand how Ashgabat became what it is today, we must return to the moment Turkmenistan became independent. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and for a brief moment, millions of people across Central Asia believed freedom had finally arrived. In Turkmenistan, that hope never had a chance to grow. Power did not disappear. It simply changed its name. Saparmurat Niyazov, a former Communist Party leader, positioned himself as the father of the new nation. He did not dismantle the Soviet security apparatus. He inherited it. The KGB was renamed, but its structure, personnel, and methods remained intact. Surveillance, intimidation, and absolute loyalty became the foundation of the new state. From the beginning, Niyazov understood a critical truth. Controlling people physically was not enough. True power came from controlling reality itself. The government gained access to everything: phone calls, travel permissions, employment records, education files. Leaving one city for another required approval. Living in Ashgabat required permission. Traveling abroad required proof of loyalty. A passport was no longer an identity document. It was a reward. Informants were everywhere. Schools, factories, mosques, universities, apartment blocks. Neighbors listened to neighbors. Colleagues listened to colleagues. Even children were encouraged to repeat what they heard at home. People learned to speak quietly, often with the television turned up to mask their voices. Silence became a second language. Those who crossed invisible lines simply disappeared. In November 2002, an alleged assassination attempt on Niyazov was announced. The details were vague. The evidence was questionable. But the consequences were immediate and brutal. Thousands were arrested. Confessions were broadcast on state television. Opposition figures vanished overnight. One of them was Boris Shikmuradov, a former foreign minister and once one of Niyazov's closest allies. Weeks after his disappearance, a video aired nationwide. Boris appeared thin, disoriented, and terrified. He called himself a criminal, a drug addict, a traitor. He begged forgiveness and praised the leader he had once opposed. The speech was scripted. The fear was real. Boris was never seen again. Another name faded into silence in 2006. Ogulsapar Muradova, a journalist working with foreign media, was arrested and later declared dead from natural causes. When her family received her body, they found signs of strangulation and severe head trauma. Their questions were ignored. The case was erased. Her crime was simple. She had recordings the state could not control. Fear alone, however, does not sustain a system. It must be reinforced with belief. Niyazov understood this better than most dictators. He did not just ban books. He replaced them. One book became mandatory reading across the nation. Schools taught it. Universities tested it. Government jobs required it. Even mosques preached from it. The book was called Runama. Written by Niyazov himself, Runama was part autobiography, part mythology, part rewritten history. It portrayed him as the spiritual guide of the Turkmen people, a near-divine figure chosen by destiny. Time itself was altered. Months and days were renamed after Niyazov and his book. Statues of him filled the country. One golden statue in Ashgabat rotated to face the sun at all times. This was not vanity. It was psychological anchoring. When the same image, the same story, the same words are repeated everywhere, reality begins to bend. Over time, people stop remembering what life was like before. Memory erodes. Identity weakens. Doubt feels unnatural.